Imagine you are the most dangerous kind of reader. Not dangerous because you mean harm. Dangerous because you are educated, thoughtful, serious. You have spent years learning to read carefully and think precisely. And you already know what words mean. It is the 1st century. You live in a Greek-speaking city. Alexandria, Ephesus, Antioch. It does not matter which one. What matters is the world inside your mind. You grew up reading Homer. You studied philosophy. You sat in colonnaded walkways and listened to serious men argue about the nature of reality. You learned the way every educated person in your world learned, that underneath the chaos of the visible world, there is an ordering principle, a rational force holding everything together. You learned its name before you were old enough to question it. Logos. Now, someone hands you a document, a gospel, written by a Jewish man about a Jewish teacher from a province called Judea. You have heard things. You are curious. You sit down. And the first line says, "In the beginning was the Logos." And something happens in your mind that nobody warned you about. Because that word is not new to you. That word is 600 years old. It has a home. It has a history. It has a meaning that was built long before this document existed, in a world that had nothing to do with Israel and nothing to do with the God the Jewish authors of this text were writing about. You did not choose to bring that meaning with you. It arrived on its own. And the question this episode is going to press on, carefully, methodically, without rushing to any conclusion, is what happened next. Because what happened next changed everything. Put yourself back in that room. A 1st century city, Greek-speaking, educated. The world you grew up in has been a Greek-speaking world for 300 years. The philosophers who shaped how your world thinks about reality, they worked in Greek. The scriptures being read aloud in the synagogue down the road, they are in Greek. The letters circulating between communities about this teacher from Judea, written in Greek. Greek is not just the language you speak. It is the language you think in. And embedded in that language, woven into the very way you understand what words mean and where they come from, is a concept that has been part of the educated world's vocabulary for 6 centuries. The Logos, the rational ordering principle of the universe, present in all things, governing everything, intelligent but not personal, universal but belonging to no one. That is what you carry when you sit down with this document. Now, the first line lands. In the beginning was the Logos. Before you read another word, your mind has already moved, because in your world, the Logos was never born. It was never appointed. It was never sent by anyone. It did not eat or sleep or weep. It did not pray to a father who sent it. It did not walk a road in Galilee or stand in a synagogue and read from a scroll. The Logos was not a man. It was the rational structure of the universe. It was what made the universe coherent. It was what made human reasoning possible. It was ancient and impersonal and present in everything simultaneously. And now this line. And the Logos was with God, and the Logos was God. Something is happening here that the first readers felt immediately. 2 worlds meeting inside one sentence. The Jewish world, where God is a person, a singular being, a center of will and consciousness, the God who called Abraham, who spoke to Moses, who declared through Isaiah, I am the first and I am the last, and besides me, there is no God. That God is not an abstract principle. That God has a name, Yahweh. That God acts, chooses, speaks, loves, judges. And the Greek world, where the Logos is a principle, not a person, not a being with a name and a history and a will directed at particular people, but the rational force behind coherence, present everywhere, belonging to no one. 2 worlds, 1 sentence. And the Logos became flesh. For the Jewish reader in that room, those words raised one set of questions. The Messiah, the Anointed One, the human son from David's line that they had been waiting for, the one sent by God, the Shaliach, the authorized agent, operating under the authority of the one who sent him. For the Greek-trained reader in that room, the same words raised an entirely different set of questions. The Logos, the cosmic rational principle, become flesh, personal, embodied, entering history. Same words, different worlds, different questions, different frameworks running underneath the same text. We are not declaring which reading is correct right now. We are doing something more important. We are watching what happens when a document written by Jewish men, steeped in the Jewish world of the Shema and the prophets and the Davidic covenant, lands in the hands of readers who have never once lived in that world. Readers who are educated, serious, thoughtful, and who are doing exactly what educated, serious, thoughtful readers do. Reading with the eyes they have. Not the wrong eyes, not dishonest eyes, the only eyes they have. And those eyes, shaped by 6 centuries of Greek philosophical tradition, saw something in that first line that the Jewish authors of the text may not have put there. Or, and this question that is going to drive the next several episodes, maybe they did. Maybe John knew exactly what the word he was using was. Maybe John knew exactly what world that word came from. And maybe the question of why he chose it, knowing what he knew, is one of the most important questions this series is going to ask. We are not there yet. But here is what we can say right now. By the 2nd and 3rd centuries, as the church moved further from its Jewish roots and became increasingly populated by Greek-trained minds, the framework that felt most natural for understanding who Jesus was not the Jewish framework, not the Shaliach, not the human Messiah, not the anointed son from David's line operating under the authority of the one who sent him. The framework that felt most natural was the one those readers already carried. The Logos, divine in essence, co-eternal with God, the second principle of the divine nature, becoming flesh, not as an agent sent by another, but as a manifestation of the divine itself, entering the material world. That framework had a name. Greek-trained theologians in the early centuries of the Church built an entire theological system around it. And the vocabulary they used to build that system, the specific words and categories and concepts, did not come from the Hebrew Scriptures. They came from philosophy. We are going to trace exactly where that system came from, who built it, when, and what evidence was used, and what evidence was set aside in the process. That is the road this investigation is now on. And the next figure we need to meet is one that most people sitting in churches today have never heard of. But without him, the road from a Jewish gospel to a Greek theological system looks impossible. With him, it looks almost inevitable. His name was Philo. He lived in Alexandria, 1st century, contemporary with Jesus. He was Jewish, deeply, seriously Jewish. He loved the scriptures of his people. He studied them. He wrote about them. He spent his life trying to understand the God of Abraham. But Philo had also spent his life inside a Greek-speaking city, educated in Greek philosophy, immersed in Platonic thought, conversant with the Stoics and their logos, and the entire Greek tradition of thinking about the divine. And Philo decided to build a bridge between the God of Israel and the logos of Greek philosophy. He kept God supreme. He kept the logos subordinate. He was still Jewish, but the bridge he built, the vocabulary he introduced, the categories he made available, opened a door. And once a door is open, it is very difficult to close. That is next. Walk in truth. The full series starts at episode 1 if you want the complete journey. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And the next video is right there.